2020 was a challenging year for women experiencing domestic violence. The COVID-19 pandemic has meant that many women have found themselves trapped in their homes with their abusers, at greater risk of digital abuse and unable to access support networks. Women's Aid have been on the front line responding to these new challenges and to increased demand for support during the pandemic. We focused public awareness on the specific plight of women subjected to domestic violence throughout this difficult time. We bore witness to the disclosure of thousands and thousands of coercive controlling tactics which form the pattern of domestic violence relationships, where abusers perpetrate a wide variety and combination of emotional, physical, economic and sexual abuses. Juliana is a young woman who accessed support from Women's Aid. I had a 5-minute phone call with Women's Aid, and it was the first time I felt someone really took me seriously and understood what I was feeling and the damage that had been done to me. Women's Aid was able to advise me as to what I should do next, as well as give me legal information and psychological help. Emma is a service user on the High Risk Support Project, a support service to provide security to women at high risk of violence and abuse from their partners or ex-partners. She says, "I would never have gotten away from him without the help I received. I'm forever grateful for the service." In 2020, Women's Aid conducted research on abuse experienced by young adults and found that 1 in 5 young women had been subjected to intimate relationship abuse, with a shocking 51% reporting that the abuse began when they were still minors. We ran our 2 Into You campaign on Valentine's Day and again in November to raise awareness of this issue. This past year has shown some genuine progress in relation to combating domestic violence in Ireland. We have continued our advocacy calling for reform and resourcing of the family law court system. Women's Aid also helped to shape the Harassment, Harmful Communications and Related Offences Act 2020, COCO's law, which created 3 new offences in relation to image-based sexual abuse and harmful communications. However, serious issues still remain. In 2020, 92 new service users were registered with our High Risk Support Project for women who remain at serious risk of violence after separation from their abusers. Our Femicide Watch shows that 3 women died violently in 2020. Refuges still don't have adequate capacity for women and children escaping abuse. We also, critically, lack dedicated and nationally available follow-on options for long-term housing of women and children subjected to domestic abuse when they are ready to leave temporary refuge accommodation. 68% of the times when we call refuges on behalf of women, they reported that they were unfortunately at full capacity. More must be done to end domestic violence against women and children. 2020 has both revealed and exacerbated the extent of women's abuse in Ireland, but has also raised awareness and support from the public and our politicians, and has further galvanised collaboration among all of us at the front line to respond together as best we can. Women's Aid will continue to do our part through our service provision, advocacy and education work to achieve an Ireland where every woman and child is safe from domestic violence. To truly realise this, we need a whole community effort, and so now, and for the foreseeable future, the prevention, combating and punishment of devastating, coercive, controlling abuse must remain high on everyone's agenda. Women's Aid. Listening. Believing. Supporting.